from the rain and the stone, where the wind has no name and the traveler's alone. There's warmth in the fire and truth in the tale of the watcher who walks where the bold-hearted fail. He carries no sword, yet the darkness gives way to the lantern he lifts at the end of the day. He stands on the watchtower, still and unswayed, where the lost find a path through the fog and the fray. Pilgrim, Greye, oh steward of the lands, you carry the light in your weather-worn hands.
Yep, weather-worn hands on the watchtower, folks. Sitting up here, Pilgrim's Greye Chronicles, your host, Robert Clark. I am so sorry that the podcast is late, but my wife and I got into an accident tonight. We're both okay, just a little bit rattled and sore. Somebody thought that there was a four-way stop sign intersection, and we didn't have a stop sign, and they clocked us in the passenger side front wheel with their pickup truck. And so, sorry, it's going to be a late episode tonight for you all. I apologize for that. But like I said, everybody was okay, and except I'm sad for my wife because she loved her Acura MDX, and the motorist was not insured. And it's very likely our vehicle will be totaled, and hopefully she'll find an Acura MDX every bit as lovely, or maybe we can repair it. I don't know. Just keep us in your prayers. It's just stuff. And like I said, nobody was seriously hurt. And that's a good thing. So tonight, it's going to be kind of a brief episode because I didn't get to do some of the greater details that I wanted to do because of the accident and some other things. I had hoped to have a bit more time. But I do have a special treat for you in that I'm going to let you get to hear one of the rough drafts. There's still guitar solos that need to be put in this, and some acoustic guitar that I want to put in, and a couple of areas of background vocals. But if you want to hear what a rough draft of a song is like before all the details are added, one of the upcoming songs on our album, The 12s, is a track called The Lion Returns, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's about 7 minutes long, but to me it's like a Tool song. I feel like sometimes when you listen to a song by Tool, even though the song can be 7 to 11 minutes long, it's like you listen to a 3-minute long track for some reason. It's weird. And so I hope you feel that way about it. If not, I apologize. I just thought it might be something interesting for you. I like to throw different things at you to keep you entertained and listening, so I hope you dig it. And tonight, what we're going to be going over is the Antikythera Mechanism, because I'm fascinated by it, and I wanted to do it while waiting for others to let me know about whether they can come on the show and be interviewed. I'm trying to set up some more interviews with some folks, but everybody has busy schedules, and sometimes it's very hard to connect. But one thing I would tell you is tonight, my interview with Justin of Prometheus Lens dropped. So if you want to catch that tonight or tomorrow or sometime this week, you can watch me being interviewed in my studio with Justin, going over just about why I started doing music and the album in general and what the album is about. We didn't get necessarily into the technical details of the album and things of that nature. It kind of turned into a discussion of the topics covered in the album, which is a concept album about the kind of topics that we discuss here. I don't want to give too much away because I'd rather you just listen to the album all the way through, from the first song to the 11th and last song. And if you're interested, there's a book that goes along with it. You can just go visit our website. I'll put it in the comments section, but it's easy to remember. It's just www.pilgrimsgreye.com, and Greye being spelled with an E instead of an A. So it's Pilgrim's Greye. No apostrophe, obviously. It's just Pilgrimsgreye. Grey.com. And you can check out the different songs on there, get the whole album. That's what I would recommend. And the book that goes with it, because the book tells a complete story along with it. So like when you're listening to one of the 3 instrumental tracks on the album, you'll know the story that goes along with it because there's a story that goes along with it. All about the Grey Wanderer, seeing things like Ezekiel behind the scenes in the spirit realm of what is going on and how it affects our physical world. Got to check it out. So without further delay, let's figure out what this Antikythera mechanism is. Although I have to be honest with you in advance that it's impossible, I think, to tell 100% what it is, but I feel like I have a pretty good idea. And maybe by the end of this, you'll agree with me, but maybe you won't. We'll see. But I think you'll find it very interesting. So it's just 4 short sections. So I won't keep you too long tonight because I'm feeling kind of bruised up, and it's been a long night, honestly. So now, so with this device, it was, I believe, in the spring of the year 1901. Sponge divers off the remote island of Antikythera, nestled quietly between Crete and mainland Greece, plunged into the crystal blue Mediterranean Sea. And their aim was simple: just collect sponges from the ocean floor. But what they found hidden deep in an ancient shipwreck, nearly 2,000 years old, would change everything historians and scientists thought they knew about the ancient world. How many times have we heard that in the last 5 years? Right? And none of them have been jokes, right? I mean, we've had so many discoveries in the last 5 years that turned history upside down. So lying obscured among decaying amphora and marble statues was a corroded lump of bronze and wood, barely recognizable after centuries beneath the waves. And at first glance, it seemed like just mere debris, right? An artifact of little consequence. I mean, who knew? Could have been a dinner plate for all they knew. But little did they realize that this enigmatic object, now known as the Antikythera Mechanism, would ignite more than a century of passionate research, heated debates, and countless questions that remain unanswered even today. That's why I preface this with, and I'd love to hear some of your replies to this video or podcast as to what you think it is. I'm going to go over some information, and maybe some of it you've not heard before, and you can tell me what you think. But it's often called humanity's first analog computer, right? We've all heard that. The Antikythera mechanism is astonishingly advanced. It's out of place in time in an era when such precise gears and complex astronomical calculations and intricate machinery simply were not supposed to exist. So, how could a civilization whose primary tools were bronze, allegedly, chisels, and wooden pulleys have created such a masterpiece of mechanical engineering, one that would not be matched until more than 1,000 years later? So, like I said, tonight we're going to journey into this topic of archaeological mystery, exploring its incredible intricacies, remarkable purpose, and hidden implications. Could this artifact be evidence of lost technology, forbidden knowledge, or perhaps an intentional suppression of human understanding from a long-forgotten age? I think we have seen example after example after example of suppression of history and knowledge for whatever reason. I have my own thoughts on that, but I can't prove them. I don't think any of us can, but I don't think any of them are good reasons. So if you'll join us as we unravel these mysteries and delve into hidden evidence and question the narrative we've so long accepted about humanity's ancient past, I welcome you down this road that goes on and on, fellow pilgrims, to another episode of the Pilgrim's Great Chronicles. Make sure you like and subscribe because so many people forget. Just a reminder before we get started to like and subscribe and follow us and share the info. And we welcome you to comment on every video. Either to say, hey, what's up? I'm such and such from somewhere. How's it going? I think you do a great job. Or, hey, I think you do a crappy job and should disappear. But I'm not going to. So even if you say it. But you're welcome to say it. So, Section 1. In the spring of 1901, like I said, we have this group of Greek sponge divers led by a gentleman by the name of Captain Demetrios Kontos. Or Kontos, I don't know. I don't speak Greek. I would say it's probably Kontos. But anyway, anchored near the small island of Antikythera in the Mediterranean Sea, and amid the scattered wreckage of an ancient Roman shipwreck, nearly 150 feet below the surface, diver Elias Stadiatis stumbled upon a strange corroded artifact. It was utterly unlike anything ever before discovered from antiquity. Initially, it was mistaken for just an ordinary weathered lump of bronze, and it took nearly 2 years before archaeologists even realized the significance of what had been unearthed. This artifact, like I said, now known worldwide by people who pay attention to such things. I can't say it's a household name, but the Antikythera Mechanism defied conventional historical understanding. At first glance, the artifact appeared merely as rusted and calcified metal plates fused together, but beneath layers of corrosion lay the remnants of an intricate device of astonishing complexity. So historians quickly dated the shipwreck to about somewhere between 100 and 150 BC, placing it firmly within the Hellenistic period of Greek history. Yet the technology evident in the Antikythera Mechanism far surpasses anything historians believed possible for that time. So the device seemed anachronistic, suggesting a sophistication in engineering and astronomical knowledge not previously thought achievable until well over a millennium later. Now, this is nothing new here lately. I mean, like I said before, we're I mean, look what's going on at the Giza Plateau. It's crazy time, right? So decades pass with the Antikythera Mechanism being largely ignored by mainstream scholars who, as usual, dismissed it as an odd curiosity rather than evidence of advanced ancient technology. However, by the mid-20th century, as X-ray technology and later computed tomography or CT scans became available, researchers revisited the artifact, and these technological advances provided groundbreaking insights, and it sparked renewed interest and debate among scholars, historians, and investigative enthusiasts worldwide because of their crazy findings. But the initial puzzle remains. What purpose did this extraordinary mechanism serve? Who built it? And why did it vanish from history, leaving behind no clear legacy or lineage or of similar advanced inventions? We've never found another one like it, which may be a clue as to its importance or rarity or don't know. But as we delve deeper, we may begin to discover not just a forgotten marvel of ancient engineering, but perhaps evidence of lost knowledge, hidden influences, or suppressed history, one that could challenge everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. So, when researchers finally began applying advanced imaging technology, such as X-rays and CT scans, and more recently high-resolution surface imaging, the true complexity of the Antikythera Mechanism was revealed in stunning detail. The device, initially thought to consist of just a few bronze plates, turned out to be a carefully engineered assembly of over 30 finely crafted gears, meticulously designed to interact in precise synchronization. So the largest gear containing exactly 223 teeth, corresponded to the lunar Saros cycle, a period of approximately 18 years used to predict lunar eclipses. Another gear, slightly smaller and precisely matched to the Metonic cycle, about 19 years, allowed the device to track both solar and lunar calendars simultaneously. Even more astonishing, it featured a differential gear, a mechanical innovation believed not to have been developed until the late Middle Ages, that precisely accounted for the elliptical movements of the moon. That's pretty wild. How would they have even known that? Just human knowledge. I mean, if we assume that what we've been told about human history is true, I think this pretty clearly says that that's BS. So you've got these intricate inscriptions found on the device's bronze plates, and they provided directions in ancient Greek, clearly indicating how users could interpret the movement of celestial bodies. Experts have decoded parts of these inscriptions, revealing that the mechanism could accurately predict eclipses and planetary positions decades into the future. It even indicated irregularities in planetary movements known to modern astronomers as retrograde motion, a phenomenon difficult enough to understand today, let alone mechanically simulate thousands of years ago. So you think about the detail they went into with that, it has to be important, right? So further studies revealed the precise craftsmanship required to produce the device's gears. Researchers determined that the gears were cut from bronze sheets using techniques so advanced they would demand a precision exceeding many medieval instruments. Microscopic analysis showed evidence of extremely fine filing and adjustments, demonstrating meticulous attention to detail and suggesting an extraordinary high level of technological capability. There's no way this was done with the technology of that day, according to what our ridiculous historical timeline we were taught in school claims. Now, perhaps most strikingly, the Antikythera Mechanism operated as a sophisticated analog computing device, performing calculations far beyond mere astronomical observation. Its mechanical sophistication enabled it to simulate the known movements of 5 planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, alongside the precise solar and lunar tracking. Some have even proposed that it might have served as a navigational aid for mariners or an educational tool for astronomers and philosophers. So, despite these findings, questions remain. I know I still have them. So, how did such advanced knowledge disappear, leaving no trace of similar technology behind? And was the Antikythera Mechanism a unique creation, or was it simply one surviving fragment of a broader lost tradition of engineering and astronomical mastery? So, as we continue to uncover its secrets, we must consider whether this remarkable artifact points to an ancient legacy deliberately hidden or lost over the passage of millennia. I have a tendency to think that because if it's true that we have only one in our possession, and we've ever discovered, and nothing similar, at least that's a mechanism like this, then perhaps it was something that some very important people kept to themselves, like the leader of a school of thought, or sages, or like maybe something like the 3 wise men would have carried. Well, we don't know there were 3. It was just wise men from the east, but perhaps they had something like this Antikythera Mechanism to identify the constellations that would include the birth of the Messiah. Who knows, right? So, other theories. The Antikythera Mechanism's astonishing sophistication has naturally led to vigorous debates and compelling speculation among researchers, historians, and alternative theorists alike. While mainstream academia maintains that its primary function was as an astronomical calendar, educational tool, or navigational aid, deeper investigations open doors to far more intriguing possibilities. And I think the more intriguing possibilities are probably more likely. I mean, when you start with a false timeline and a false idea of humanity, like we were morons who became more intelligent over time, rather than, we've been incredibly intelligent all along, then yeah, you're gonna come up with simplistic explanations for it. But I don't think they were simpletons. I don't buy it anymore. Do you? I mean, Graham Hancock has done such a good job of illustrating the point that there's no way what they taught us or are teaching us still about history is correct. There's no way. And I don't know why they feel the need to lie about it. I mean, if they haven't figured out from monitoring all of what we talk about in social media, they have to know that we're onto it. Enough of us are onto it that we don't buy their BS anymore. We may pretend we do, and we may tolerate it and tell our kids just get the answers right, but we know this is old BS. Then, whatever. But anyway, one prominent alternative theory suggests that the device indicates an ancient civilization or culture possessing technology and scientific knowledge that far surpassed accepted historical timelines. Well, of course. Proponents point out the unprecedented accuracy and mechanical ingenuity evident in the mechanism, unmatched until the invention of sophisticated medieval clocks nearly 15 centuries later. Which, by the way, it's amazing that they were even able to make those clocks 15 centuries later. The detail is amazing. The kind of craftsmanship. You don't see it today. I don't understand it. Anyway, could this artifact be evidence of a forgotten civilization or knowledge lineage deliberately erased from history? Or maybe both? So a related and widely discussed possibility is that the Antikythera Mechanism represents hidden or forbidden knowledge, perhaps originating from esoteric groups or secret societies that once closely guarded advanced astronomical and cosmological wisdom. Solomon's school comes to mind. So these mysterious custodians may have understood celestial movements as sacred knowledge divinely encoded by God into the stars and planetary alignments, marking the ordering of seasons, significant events, and cosmic cycles. And if that's true, the complexity of the mechanism could reflect this encoded celestial knowledge, preserved only by a privileged few and deliberately concealed from broader society. Well, that would explain why you have one mechanism ever found so far. Unless they're lying about how many have been found, but we have to go with what we currently see, and so far as I know, we've only found one, which tells me it was a rare device. And from the other items discovered at the shipwreck, I'd say it was probably somebody who had money and prestige. So, in ancient writings ranging from biblical text to lost manuscripts, we find repeated references to celestial signs governing earthly events, right? The Book of Enoch, for example, explicitly describes heavenly luminaries appointed by God to regulate times, seasons, and the flow of human history. So could the creators of the Antikythera Mechanism have possessed detailed insights from such ancient records, carefully encoding divine patterns into mechanical form? I think that's a good possibility. There's so much that was hidden from mainstream society by the ruling elite and the knowledgeable and the sages and so on and so forth. And, moreover, evidence from inscriptions found on the mechanism itself suggests a deeper esoteric significance. These inscriptions do more than simply track astronomical phenomena. they hint at predictive capabilities that would require a profound cosmic understanding and precise mathematical knowledge. And to me, such capabilities suggest knowledge far beyond common educational tools or basic navigation instruments of the ancient world. And additionally, researchers and alternative historians have drawn parallels between the Antikythera Mechanism and descriptions found in ancient mystery schools of Greece, Egypt, and Mesopotamia. So these secretive institutions were known for carefully guarding astronomical wisdom, often intertwining science, spirituality, and cosmology. Their teachings, typically accessible only to initiated elites, may have included mechanical devices, such as the Antikythera Mechanism, as tangible expressions of cosmic truths. And as these societies dissolved or faced suppression or were conquered, particularly after the burning of the Library of Alexandria, such sophisticated knowledge would have either disappeared entirely or been deliberately secreted away, hidden, or, protected somehow. And lastly, some researchers propose that the reemergence and intense modern fascination with the Antikythera Mechanism might represent the gradual resurfacing of this ancient cosmic knowledge. I see things on Twitter or X every day where people seem to be gaining more and more knowledge and rabbit hole information. Like, it seems like it's exponential. It's not just increasing. It's like its knowledge of these things is growing so fast. I don't see how, if anybody is suppressing this stuff, they're going to be able to suppress it all much longer. So, are we as modern observers inadvertently uncovering a deeper divinely orchestrated ordering of time in the cosmos that has remained hidden in plain sight for millennia? Could it be that humanity is on the cusp of rediscovering wisdom that once guided civilizations in harmony with celestial rhythms? I think ultimately the Antikythera Mechanism may represent far more than just a remarkable artifact from the past. It may symbolize a rediscovery or a reawakening of forgotten truths encoded within its delicate bronze gears and ancient inscriptions. But it's something to be careful about, isn't it? I mean, there's a reason this kind of knowledge gets hidden. And I don't know if it's... because I don't know enough about the item to be certain whether it would be God being the one trying to protect us from ourselves, or maybe the rebellious sons of God keeping us from that information because they know if we ever figure it out, we will figure out what God is telling us in the constellations, in the seasons, and the times, and so on, and be able to figure it out, and they don't want it for whatever reason. I'm not sure which it is. You can tell me what you think in the comment section, but I'm not certain. I am fascinated by it, though, because it really is an interesting device. I mean, really, 223 teeth in the device that exactly mimic the moon phase. It's really interesting to me. I mean, there's no way they could have that knowledge unless it was passed on by something else that is familiar with that knowledge. And again, that also depends on whether or not our timeline is correct. So from my point of view, I've asked you to comment because I would like to know what your thoughts are. But my thought is that what they've taught us about history is a steaming crock. There's no way that what they're telling us about humanity and evolution and all of it, none of it makes any sense given what we know now. We were either smarter, better, stronger than we think, or something's off. And this is why I trust the Bible and what it has to say about history and how we were initially made in God's image and innocent and in many ways a perfect human being, intelligent, probably more so then than we are now. I know we think we're smart now, but and I think we've had other intelligences, interdimensional beings, the sons of God or the B'nai Elohim, what angels, whatever you want to call them, in contact with us since the very beginning. Not all of them are friendly to us. Some of them want to be worshipped as gods or demigods, in violation of the laws of heaven. And I think the one God who is above all, the Lord of spirits, the one who is the I am with no beginning and no end, put into motion a world of free choices from his timeless state and began this universe knowing that not everybody's free choices in this world, both angel and human alike, were going to be great, but it would still work out his will in the end, and everything will turn out okay. But in the meantime, we have to put up with some really weird crap. And so all I can say is hang in there, folks, as we try to figure these things out, you know. So I think of, you know, after finding some of these things out about this mechanism, I just wonder, you know, could the astonishing precision in advanced astronomical knowledge encoded within this device be related to other anomalously sophisticated civilizations hinted at throughout history? Like, you know, Plato writing about Atlantis described an ancient society possessing extraordinary technological knowledge, suddenly destroyed by a cataclysm. Right? I mean, we have the Enuma Elish and the Old Testament and Enoch and the Book of Giants and all these writings from back then that describe advanced cultures that were altering genetics and tampering with the world to the point where the cataclysm was God resetting everything. So you wonder if the Antikythera Mechanism represents remnants or echoes of Atlantean wisdom or technology discreetly passed down or preserved only by initiates of secret traditions, right? We have ancient texts that often allude to advanced astronomical and mechanical knowledge imparted to humanity by beings of supernatural origin. For example, you consider the Book of Enoch, which explicitly states in 1 Enoch 72:1, "And the angel Uriel showed me the courses of the luminaries of the heavens, and according to their classes, their dominion, and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months." So this intriguing passage suggests a detailed, systematic understanding of celestial movements, exactly what the Antikythera Mechanism mechanically demonstrates. So could it be that the device represents tangible evidence of this knowledge once taught by celestial entities? I think so, or I wouldn't be doing this podcast. That's my opinion, though, but I think there's good reason to think that it's true, based off what we know, and some of these writings. Like, we find compelling parallels in the writings of the Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, who referenced astronomical knowledge possessed by ancient civilizations long before his time. He wrote in Josephus' Antiquities, Book 1, Chapter 2, They, the descendants of Seth, also were the inventors of that peculiar sort of wisdom which is concerned with the heavenly bodies and their order. So such statements confirm the existence of sophisticated astronomical traditions that predate conventional historical timelines and suggest continuity of advanced knowledge across generations. It reminds me of the kings of the East that knew about the star, and what it meant and what it appeared like. They knew somehow. And then we must also consider the fate of the great repositories of ancient wisdom, most notably the Library of Alexandria. Its intentional destruction raises questions about deliberate suppression of knowledge deemed too powerful or threatening. And could the Antikythera Mechanism be a surviving fragment from such libraries, preserved precisely because it was lost at sea and thereby escaped destruction? Additionally, ancient mystery schools of Egypt, Greece, and the Near East were renowned for safeguarding secret teachings, revealed exclusively to initiates. For instance, the Hermetic texts from ancient Egypt explicitly speak of hidden celestial knowledge. In the Hermetica, Asclepius 3:24, it says, Egypt is an image of heaven, or, to speak more exactly, in Egypt, all the operations of the powers which rule and work in heaven are present in the earth below. Did you catch that? They're operating in the earth below. That goes right along with my series, my 3-part series about the tactics of the Watchers. They work here in seemingly human form among us, and even invisibly behind the scenes as rulers, principalities, powers like the king of Tyre mentioned in, I think, Isaiah, where it's talking about a human earthly king at first, and then it describes this being behind the king of Tyre somehow that was at the Garden of Eden. And it's clearly not talking about the human anymore, but possibly the being that is avataring him or leading him or guiding him in some way, shape, or form as a principality in that region and their effect. We probably need to do a podcast on how that operation works so that you know when Scripture talks about we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against rulers and authorities and principalities in the unseen realm, you know what they're capable of and you know what they can do. I mean, Scripture obviously hints in some of the more obvious passages like entertaining angels unaware, where you might be, dealing with an angel at times and not even know it because they are appearing in a human form and you wouldn't even know it. Now, the passage out of Hebrews, of course, says it in a way of, making sure that you are hospitable to strangers. But it also, the other implication of that is that angels that aren't so nice could be appearing as humans too, right? And you would not know it. So, but this passage here from the Hermetica, the claim directly parallels the concept of as above, so below, including their architecture that everybody raves about, as Tartaria or even the pre-flood world. I mean, all of these buildings have similar architectural structure all over the globe. So, and I believe it is because of these rebellious sons of God. And they work with their human adherents in various societies to build and teach and to control society, usually enslaving them into fiat-based debt currency. You don't think fallen watchers are behind that. We're all slaves to it, right? Fiat currency. So, suggesting that the Antikythera Mechanism could have been a physical manifestation of such esoteric principles, a mechanical reflection of cosmic order, deliberately hidden in complexity. And so lastly, it may not be mere coincidence that humanity has recently rediscovered this device precisely as interest in suppressed historical narratives resurfaces worldwide. A lot of people are waking up, right? So could this timing suggest a divine or cosmic orchestration, urging modern humanity to reclaim insights once widely understood but deliberately hidden? Could have both sides operating on this. This is a war, after all, right? The good guys could be letting things known, and the bad guys are obviously going to mimic, copy, distort, confuse, lie, and create fog of war over it. But in some, the Antikythera Mechanism might not merely be an archaeological curiosity, but a crucial clue or a cipher pointing us towards forgotten truths encoded by God into the fabric of the cosmos itself, truths preserved through secret societies, ancient texts, and esoteric teachings, awaiting rediscovery by those willing to search beyond the accepted narratives. But again, I would caution, there might be a reason that it is hidden for our best interest. And I would be careful in digging too deep into that if you're not solid on what you believe biblically. It's too easy to be deceived by interdimensional beings that are smarter, faster, better, stronger, and have been alive for centuries. Whereas you, at best, have been alive for a few decades. If you don't think they can't outwit you or outsmart you at some point, I would just tell you, even Michael said, "The Lord rebuke you," rather than getting into an argument. I would just suggest to you that you always be asking God for discernment before you do anything. Before you study Atlantis, before you study anything at all, make sure it agrees with what Scripture has to say on a subject. Because to me, that is the plumb line and the straight road. And everything else is a rabbit trail off. Nothing wrong with looking at the rabbit trail and trying to figure it out, but it should never get you so far off track that you can't get back to the straight road. In fact, you really, anyway, you get the idea. So let's conclude, because I'm going way later than I wanted to because I got to work in the morning, and I wasn't expecting to get into an accident tonight. None of us ever are. That's why they're accidents, right? So as we conclude our discussion into the Antikythera Mechanism, we're kind of left confronting some profound questions here. This remarkable artifact isn't merely an ancient curiosity. It represents a gateway into hidden history, suppressed knowledge, and perhaps even divine truths intricately encoded into the cosmos itself. So we've discussed together journeying through historical mystery, analyzing intricate mechanical details, and explored profound connections to ancient text. Along the way, we've encountered compelling evidence that the Antikythera Mechanism may be far more than historians or archaeologists dare to suggest publicly. Of course, they will never declare that publicly unless the evidence is so overwhelming that all of us already know it, because there's money involved, and they can't go against the narrative or they lose funding, and funding is hard to come by. And if you don't think that influences them to a great degree, then you don't know anything about how the world works. So, could this artifact indeed represent knowledge imparted by celestial beings, preserved by secret societies or remnants of lost civilizations such as Atlantis or the ancient mystery schools? You know, many of the ancient mystery schools are probably born out of Atlantis in knowledge. But I would like to think that somewhere along the line, Noah, Adam, the patriarchs, at some point also had the knowledge imparted to them by God and preserved it in some way that is a good, healthy view of what is going on in that great sky clock in the heavens. And they knew about it too. And there were good kings of the East that knew about the birth of the Messiah as a result. So clearly some of this knowledge is good, but with us handing over the rights of this planet to a usurper and a slanderer, everything's distorted. It's been turned into astrology, and divination and foolishness. And I would love to be able to find out just what exactly God meant for us to understand about what's going on in the heavens, because there's something to it, I think. But I don't know that aside from getting to meet God in person and asking him about it, if we'll ever know this particular side of heaven. So, most significantly, the resurfacing of this extraordinary artifact in modern times raises some deeper implications. Are we gently guided by providence to rediscover cosmic truth hidden beneath layers of suppression, secrecy, and historical amnesia? Maybe. Could we be standing on the cusp of reclaiming celestial insights originally entrusted to humanity? Maybe. That's kind of what we're discussing. The problem is there's definitely knowledge there, but because we don't have a solid connection with his info directly to God, it's hard to trust any of it, right? Because our enemy, the divine council of 70 that rule over the nations, still to some degree, even after the death, burial, and resurrection of God in the flesh, Jesus, there's still problems. And so it can be too easily used for deception. And I don't know, it would be really great if the Lord revealed to us what it is. Perhaps the Antikythera Mechanism was always meant to survive hidden beneath the waves and then silently awaiting a generation ready and willing to question official narratives, right? And maybe, just maybe, we've been given a vital clue, an invitation to reconnect with forgotten wisdom encoded in the heavens since creation itself, like God said in Genesis. But, I kind of wonder if we'll ever know. And I would love to know more specifics on it. And I really, like I said, I'd love to know what some of your thoughts are on it. My thought is that it was probably a mechanism from one of these schools and probably owned by somebody who was higher up. And it was probably used to teach the others about this knowledge. But it seems like this knowledge has passed out of human memory. But maybe not. Maybe there are people who know. And my concern is that there'll be people who claim they know, but it's really just lesser G gods deceiving us. So best to just stick with, if we do find something that seems to be interconnected with God, I don't believe it would ever contradict what Scripture has to say about something. So if we found something that doesn't contradict and goes along with it, that would be very, very interesting to me. And maybe we can figure out why the Lord put these luminaries in the heavens in such a way as to be signs for seasons and times and eras and epochs and so on. That'll be very, very interesting to me. So until next time, fellow pilgrims, keep questioning, keep searching, and never stop seeking truth on that road that goes on and on into the great unknown, into the weirdness of this world. And I appreciate you joining us tonight on another episode of the Pilgrim's Great Chronicles. And now, for those of you who have patiently waited and listened to the entire episode, I am going to play a rough demo track of what we have worked out for one of the songs that'll be on the upcoming album. It may not be in its final form. We might make changes to it. You never know. But I really like this song. And it kind of goes with what we're studying with the Antikythera Mechanism, because it has to do with part of the album is that I'm taking the 12 patriarchs, the 12 apostles, the 12 and the constellations, and how all these 12s have interconnectivity in different ways. And I thought you might find it interesting. This particular track is called The Lion Returns. And without further delay, I wish you all a fantastic work week. And I will see you all Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, assuming nothing else happens, like an accident or who the heck knows what else, But hopefully we will see you then. And don't forget, Friday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have our top 3 stories of the week. And anytime you want to support us, you can always do a thank you on our YouTube channel, or you can go to our band's webpage at pilgrimsgreye.com and look at our merchandise. It's all super quality merchandise. I bought a pair of the high tops just to check them out. I love them way better than my All-Stars. They are fantastic, and I love the way the print looks on the shoes. We have hoodies, we have t-shirts, we have backpacks, purses, bags, you name it, to support the band. We even have our Etsy page, which I can also put in the link, where we sell merchandise specifically for Pilgrim's Greye Chronicles. So if you want to help us out and support us outside of just liking, sharing, and following us and downloading episodes and staying tuned, that would be one way to do it. And so here you go. Let's play out the music. Good night, everybody.
Inception, I am the shadows of the guilt. Two sons of wrath, two early graves. One with vengeance in his breath, the other cloaked in lust and death. But blood cries louder than the blade, and hearts are melted when they're weighed. One became the voice of Christ, the other bore the lion's feast. The altar called, the scepter rose. Through fire crawl, the story flows. Twin passports beneath one name. Sons divided yet both reclaimed. Flaming hand, they cry for rain. Fire from heaven, death without shame. But the master whispered through the storm, not yet the time, the wine must form. One walks right into the blade, The other saw the stars cascade. He held the scroll, he touched the veil. He wept where thunder could not wail. Brothers still in sound and sight, bound by love, divided by night. From fishing nets to crown decree, one gave blood, one saw the sea. Twins of sky, both wounds and weave, locked in orbits, never leave. One reflects, the other guides. One ascends, the other hides. The altar called, the scepter rose. Through fire and flaw, the story flows. Twin passports beneath one name, sons divided yet both reclaim. Flame in hand, they cry for rain. Fire from heaven, death without shame. But the master whispered through the storm, not yet the time, the wine must form. Walked quiet into the blade. The other saw the stars cascade. He held the scroll, he touched the veil. He wept where thunder could not wail. Brothers still in sound and sight, bound by love, divided by night. From fishing nets to cloud decree, one gave blood, one saw the sea. Wings of sky, both wound and weave, locked in orbit, never leave. One reflects, the other guides. One ascends, the other hides. A fold is set beyond the flame, a gate unopened, none yet named. The stars remember every scar. They mark the fold, they frame the war. Fly they split, in grace they'll rise when stars are lit. The fold is full, the twins still turn. Await the spark, the line returns. In blood they came, in fire they split.